Yo, it's your boy T-Lad, and today I'm gonna be talking about the 5 things that really help me, boost my gym gains and help me get fit. I'm not that jacked, but before I wasn't jacked at all either. So I'm gonna give you all some tips on how I went from this to this. The 5 main categories of these tips are sleep, sunlight, your diet, your lifestyle, and your training.
Good boy.
Sleep is very important. I used to neglect this a lot. I wasn't sleeping properly. But now I sleep, 8 to 9 hours. 9 hours if, I do a crazy, thing, play a bunch of sports, whatever. But mostly 8 hours even on, training days. But sleep is where all your testosterone, right, is made. I feel like sleep is so underrated. No one talks about it. Everyone's just, promoting supplements and all that. But it's bro, sleep is the most important thing. I sleep on the floor. I put up a picture. And the reason I sleep on the floor is because it actually allows your muscles to relax and grow better. I've been doing this for about 3 weeks, and I noticed the gains. It's gonna be a bit weird when you start, right? You're not gonna be able to sleep, but then once you start doing it consistently, obviously, it's gonna feel normal to you. You actually feel better. Whenever I sleep on the bed, it feels uncomfortable. This is just me. You should try it out, right? Give it a couple weeks. See if you like it or not. I like it. That's why I kept doing it. But I sleep on the floor. You should have some softness to it, right? I have a blanket. I'll show you. You'll see in the picture. But sleep is important. 8 hours of sleep a day. Make sure you sleep in a cold, dark room. Alright, the second thing, sunlight. Sunlight is really important. Every time after you wake up, I want you to do this every time after you wake up. As soon as you wake up, don't even fucking make your bed. Don't do anything. Go outside, okay? Go outside in your backyard. I just go out shirtless in my backyard and get the morning sun for at least 10 to 15 minutes, right? Stay outside there for 30 minutes. I don't touch my phone for the first 30 minutes a day. The sun is super important. People think the sun's bad for you. Well, it's bad for you if you put bullshit in your body. I'm gonna talk about it later, right? That involves diet. And if you never do this, right, you want to space it out. You can get in the shade, right? You don't want to be getting artificial light, like the light I'm in right now, but the shade's hella important, right? You're still outside, you're still getting, the sunlight. It's just you're in the shade. But the sun's really important. It will reset your circadian rhythm, which links to your sleep. All these points, they link together. That's why, I'm making this video. But you need sunlight. Sunlight's important. Things grow in sunlight. Plants, trees, everything grows in sunlight. People think it's bad for you inside. So it's if you put yourself in sunlight, you'll probably grow. Now the third thing is your diet. People eat a bunch of bullshit. Most foods aren't even foods. They're just chemicals and fancy packaged foods like protein powder, cereals, protein bar, all this shit, even fast food, right? And you want to stick to a meat-based diet. You're like, oh, isn't meat bad for you? No, it's not. If you think about it, your body is basically made out of meat. You're made out of meat, so why aren't you eating meat? It doesn't mean you eat humans. Don't be a fucking animal, right? But you eat meat, specifically red meat. You don't want to eat chicken. If you're eating corn-inside fed chicken, I would avoid the fat, because the fat's the inflammatory part. Even pork, I want to eat pork. It's like a dirty animal. But you want to avoid, the fat from the chicken and turkey, unless it's pasture raised. Not made from a local farmer. You ask them how it's made. It should be pasture raised. They get to grow them. They're eating what they're actually supposed to eat, right? They're not fed corn and soy. Then you're fine. But you mainly want to be eating beef, red meat, so ruminant animals like goat, mutton, lamb. I think kangaroos will ruin the animal, but stick to your basics. Stick to your beef, your lamb, whatever's cheapest for you, right? And stick to the fattier versions, because that's where all the minerals and vitamins and cholesterol and saturated fat is, right? When you heat up or throw away the fat, or you drain the fat, you're basically throwing away the most important part. Yeah, protein is important, but it doesn't mean shit if you're not getting your vitamins and minerals and cholesterol and saturated fat for your hormones. So you need to stop draining fat, eat that shit. You can eat eggs, you can, these seafood sometimes. The only seafood I would recommend is oysters, they're highest in zinc, or even shrimp, they're really good in cholesterol. The only thing I don't like about shrimp is that they're low in fat, but if you pair with butter, you'll be fine. Even bison is a bit low in fat, but if you pair with butter, you'll be fine. Seasonal fruit, my favorite fruits are mango, watermelon, pineapple. You don't want to be eating berries. They're high in fiber, high in oxalates. They're kind of devoid of nutrients. They're kind of, you want to avoid them. The spray with pesticides. There's one brand that's just sprayed 160 pesticides and just a bunch of bullshit. Cancer-causing chemicals. You don't want to be eating those. Just stick to the ones that thicker skin. Just eat meat. Avoid all the other shit, right? You can eat steak. know what I'm saying? Don't overcook your things. You know, when you cook your eggs, don't cook it sunny side up. Rats important. Lifestyle. Your lifestyle's important. If you can't make it sustainable, right? You know, then it doesn't mean shit. This is why, you know, all these things are sustainable. You can go outside in the sun every day. You know, it's natural, it's free, right? You can, you know, sleep 8 hours a day. It's sustainable. If you just cut out all the bullshit, cut out all your vices, you're gonna realize, like, you know, and you chase a purpose, you're gonna feel good. You know, most people, they don't feel good. They're chasing fake dopamine. They're chasing quick and easy pleasure. That's not what you want to do. You want to chase a purpose, right? And when your lifestyle is shit, you won't be able to do it. What's the point of, you know, doing all this fitness shit if you can't? If you have to do protein powder, eat fucking peanut butter, and it's all this slop. Nah, you want to be eating good. They're like, oh, you know, it's expensive. Have you tried it? No, you haven't. Bro, it's like your body is the only thing you really own. This is the only thing you own. Why are you taking, you know, why are you not taking care of it? You know, if you're dead, you know, what the fuck are you gonna do? Make sure your body is taken care of. You know, if you own a Bugatti, you wouldn't feed it bullshit, right? You have to make sure your lifestyle is sustainable. My bad. But that's a voice crack, whatever. But you want to make sure your lifestyle is sustainable. If you can't sustain it, if you're doing 2-hour workouts, which is complete bullshit, you're not going hard at all. You're wasting time. You're probably socializing. I mean, if there's a hot chick there, okay, we'll ask her out, whatever. But you should be having a sustainable lifestyle at that point, which is training, right? You don't want to be doing any crazy cardios, you know. I think competitive people think sports are, like, you know, bad or whatever. But like, if you're competing, if you're truly competing, when you with your boys, you're competing, right? Like fighting, you shouldn't be like going in the ring and fighting, but like sparring is pretty, you know, I'd say sparring is pretty high test, you know, because if you're fighting, you're risking death and a whole bunch of shit, right? I'm not gonna recommend you do that. That's up to you, you know, that's up to you if you want the injuries and shit. But even the shit like basketball, you know, football, the ones you, American football, the ones you throw, soccer is meh, but like those are sports, they're pretty high test. You have some competition, right? You know, training is also part of competition. You're gonna train, you wanna focus on the mind-muscle connection. Excuse me. You want to focus on mind-muscle connection. Most people, they go through life. I'm gonna give you an analogy. Most people go through life, you know, they just go through the motions. They go to work. No, they don't try their best. You know, one thing is how you do everything. You need to try. You truly need to feel the pain, feel the muscle working. Right? If you're doing your chin-ups or your push-ups, you want to truly like. Some things I literally squeeze my chest, right, to get the blood flowing in there, and then I do my diamond push-ups, right? And me personally, I do half-row push-ups. And if I'm doing weights, I truly feel the muscle I'm trying to train. You need to focus on that mind-muscle connection. And you know, if you squeeze a muscle, you're gonna train. You will get better blood flow. I try this. Shout out Alex Eubanks. I don't watch him. I won't recommend him for his, you know, gym advice because he's on boards, right? But one thing I did learn from him is that you need to focus on the muscle squeeze. You need to focus on the tension. You know, I always wonder how these prisoners, they always come out all jacked and shit. It's because they focus on the tension. You know, that's all. I mean, they're in prison all day, so what else they gotta do, right? But you really need to focus on the tension. You need to truly try. You know, maybe, you know, you're working at a job. You need to truly try your best. Try your best. Don't fucking, you know, break your back over it. But you know, you should try your best. Most people, they just half-ass shit. You gotta be truly locked in, right? I only train 4 to 5 times a week, right? I train 5 times a week. Sometimes like 6, right? But like when I train, I go all out, and I train max 30 minutes a day. 30 minutes a day. That's all you need. But when I train, I truly like go all in. You know, most people, and you know, that's only 3 hours a week. But I go all in. You know, I go all out. I put my heart out there. You know, it's like, and that's sustainable. You can train 30 minutes a day. You know, 4 to 5 times a week. First minute rest, and boom, get the pumping. Boom, you're gonna get the, you know, as soon as, I mean, bro, if you're, you know, getting more push-ups, next workout, you're getting more push-ups, you're getting strength. Okay, but that's basically it. You know, you don't really need any of this fancy protein supplements, all that shit. You need to stick to the basics. The basics are what you'll get 90% of your shit done. Not even 90%, 99%. Okay? Don't focus on the protein slop, all the other shit that people, you know, peptides, steroids. You don't need none of that shit. Because when you get off, you know, you're gonna lose it all. So what's the point of that? It's not sustainable. This is sustainable. You can eat steaks every day. Steaks taste good, right? You know, you're thinking, oh, meat tastes bad. Well, you have to try it. You have to fuck around and find out for yourself. But I will assure you, this will work. If you stick to this, which you will be able to, unless, you know, you have a pussy mind. You're gonna see some nice gains. You're gonna feel good, right? You're gonna feel good, and you're also gonna look good. You know, most people, they go to the gym, they feel like shit. But yeah, they made it look good, but you feel like shit. What's the point? You can't sustain it, right? When you're older, you won't be able to sustain this shit. But when you're older and you do this, you're gonna be able to sustain it. That's the main thing. Everyone has 30 minutes a day to train. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention walking. Walking is your best friend. Walking is free. You can walk anywhere. Walk after eat your meals, whatever, or you're trying to digest your. Just walk. Okay, walking is easy. Go on a morning walk, evening walk, boom. 10,000 steps a day is easy. You don't even need a tracker. I just go on a walk. 10 minutes is 1,000 steps. That's your baseline if you're going at like an average pace. But that's basically it for this video. If you need help, message me on the IG, or I'll pop it up here, pop up the QR code. But that's basically it. Like, comment, subscribe. See you next time. That's your boy.